They call me the animal magnet. But of all the animals I've worked with, only one has hot tub privileges. This is Brutus, the brown bear that I raised from Twinkie size to one tall drink of water. I work with Brutus to get a close-up view of the behaviors I see in the wild. But the world has a view of grizzlies that can be a little bit out of touch.
Up next, these wild grizzlies are human hunters.
So Brutus and I are putting together a crash course to separate fact from fiction when it comes to bear attacks. We'll get the truth from the real survivors.
And I see her just right out there.
And return to the scenes of their nightmares.
Bang, she was on me from point-blank range.
Right out of the woods like that.
And closer to home, I'll break down the hazards of living in bear country, one piece at a time. It's the grizzly bear, unfiltered.
All of a sudden, I'm laying there in stilled silence.
Because after you've been inside the attack, the view is crystal clear. For me, the bottom line with all bears, whether captive or in the wild, is respect. A performance like this, teaching Brutus to swim like an Alaskan brown bear, can't be forced. It's based on a relationship of trust, one that Brutus and I have developed over a lifetime. Besides, grizzly bears have a habit of matching force with force. So my rule of thumb while observing bears in the wild is to try to affect their behavior as little as possible. And in the best case scenario, I'm invisible.
This is just the way I like to view grizzly bears. I got a big cliff between us. It's completely safe. The wind is in my advantage. They can't smell me. I can completely watch them do their natural behavior.
But since I spent a lot more time than the average Joe in dense grizzly country, I've had my fair share of close calls. I'm surrounded by grizzlies in Alaska.
Yeah, right, like 15 yards away is a big male grizzly right there. He's acting fine, but we just need to back up out of here. The bears that are in this area are definitely the most dangerous bears, so really, really gotta pay attention. When you have so many different bears in an area, so you don't know what you're dealing with. Watched this bear before. He's kind of a bully bear. And he's coming towards us, so I'm gonna go this way.
I managed to safely cross this grizzly highway, even at rush hour. But it's experiences like these that prompt reporters to call every time a human-bear conflict hits the news.
A Montana wildlife official says one person was killed and 2 others injured in a bear attack.
Residents here and people vacationing are very concerned.
The grizzly bear expert, Casey Anderson, says it never hurts to take extra precautions.
The last stat I heard prior to this year was that only 6 grizzly caused fatalities in the Yellowstone ecosystem. So it's very rare.
And bear attacks are rare. Grizzlies or black bears have killed 108 people in North America in the last 110 years.
In my mind, there are only a handful of people who can accurately describe a grizzly attack. And one of these people is my friend, Jim Cole.
Most attacks are defensive. They are not out there preying on us like a lot of people would think.
As a wildlife photographer focusing primarily on grizzlies, he's had several brushes with bears at close range. The most recent of which was 3 years ago in Yellowstone National Park. And today, Jim and I are headed back to the exact spot of his encounter to finally make sense of the grizzly that attacked him. We set out early underneath a dense curtain of fog. 3 years ago, at this very spot, Jim had prepped his camera gear at the car. He then headed out into the backcountry alone, toward a place he had been many times before, the Hayden Valley. A 7-mile trek through some of the wildest and most scenic country in the park.
Well, this is a really cool, typical route that I take to go into Hayden Valley. We're gonna go.
And this place is a little bit special to you now.
Well, it's special to me. It always has been special to me, but obviously it takes on a little different significance since my accident, but I always enjoy going back.
So Jim, I know you like to come out here and watch grizzly bears, but you do more than that. You document it with your camera. How long have you been doing that?
Oh, I've been doing that for 30 years.
And you've taken a lot of pictures, though.
I have more bear pictures than you can believe. I have a mother and 4 cubs that I was able to really do a lot of photographing in Alaska a few years ago. I have a picture of a bear raising an American flag, kind of pulling on a flag. Those probably are my 2 favorite pictures.
And I see you're all geared up here, so tell me about what you've got.
I am strapped into the hilt. This is what I always carry. Ever since my first time I was mauled, I carried 2 cans of spray instead of 1. And you got, I mean, this is not real typical. What do you got there? I don't even know what that is.
Well, I got a little surprise for you, and I'm gonna break it out when we get up on top of the hill here.
Okay.
99% of Yellowstone's visitors never leave the park roads. But once you set foot out here, in the backcountry, the park takes on a whole new character. Wilder, bigger, and full of mystery. Our first stop is one of Yellowstone's signature geothermal features.
You know, I come through this area most of the time when I come into Hayden Valley. Now, I have some other routes too, but this sandy area and this thermal area gives me a good barometer of the bear activity in the area. Bears really can't walk through here at all without making tracks.
And did you come through here the day of your accident?
I did. I came through here that day, and there were some bear tracks. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember there were some bear tracks.
So you knew there was a good chance that you were going to see a bear that day?
Good chance of seeing a bear, you never know. Because this is a huge valley, wide open, bears move a lot. Sometimes I come in here and I think my chances are great and see nothing, and sometimes when you least expect it, there they are.
The element of surprise is always the X factor in grizzly country, because more than half of grizzly attacks are provoked by surprise encounters. And awareness begins by paying attention to the signs right in front of you.
Oh, here's some nice grizzly tracks. Really distinctive, classic grizzly tracks.
Yeah, and a
Right.
decent sized grizzly too.
Yeah. Back in 1993, I had my first encounter with a bear. These are adult tracks. That bear was a little smaller. Might have had a guard down a little bit, really don't know. And all of a sudden, I heard to my left, the bear was swinging like a fighter. Because I was going down, the bear kept missing.
Luckily, Jim was able to walk away from his first attack with only a broken wrist and a torn scalp. Fresh grizzly tracks still make my adrenaline surge. But in Jim's case, in this wide open terrain, that day seemed like just another walk in the park.
You know, I was walking along here, wasn't thinking about much. I'm coming over this little subtle knoll. I remember I was trying to pick a route out. I looked to my left, and all I heard, she didn't make any vocalizations. In my first mowing, I had a warning. There was a huff. This time there was nothing. But I heard her galloping after I looked to my right. And right over there, bang, she was on me from point blank range. I reached for my bear spray, and my hand was pinned like inches. There was nothing I could do. She was on me so quick. She pinned me face up with her left. And then boom, in an instant, she's gone. And I saw her and her cub running away, and she was freaked out. I had no more worries about her. The vicious situation that had just occurred, all of a sudden I'm laying there in stilled silence after all this mayhem that happened in a matter of seconds. And then it was a matter of life and death. I had to get up immediately. I couldn't sit or lay down for 1 minute, or I'd be dead. I realized right away that my life might be over.
The attack leaves Jim's face practically unrecognizable, with shattered facial bones, a destroyed left eye, and a nearly blind right eye. He's rapidly losing blood and nearing shock.
I realized that with the extent of my injuries and being blind, there was a good chance that I might not make it out, but I was going to fight with everything I had to get my way out. I was thinking this could be it. I was thinking, oh, you know, expletive.
In North America's national parks, females with cubs account for nearly 3/4 of all grizzly bear-inflicted injuries. And now Jim Cole was part of the statistic.
So the bottom line is, this female bear was doing one thing, and that was protecting its cub.
Probably, yeah, oh yeah, she was protecting her cub.
But Jim's ordeal wasn't finished, and I knew the perfect place to hear the rest of the story. I think we should climb up on top of this knoll, see if there's any grizzly bears around, so I have a good view. But I got a little surprise for you, too.
All right, I'm up for anything. You know, I'm alive, so what the heck?
All right. Although bears and people don't always mix well, Jim proves that conflict can be a learning experience. And I've brought him a gift that will help him share his lesson far and wide. Well, this looks like the perfect spot. But this is actually your surprise right here.
Well, that's definitely been the mystery of the trip so far.
And I've got a little gift for you. This is all yours.
Thank you so much. My God, I'm overwhelmed to be given this period, but in a place like this and in a venue like this, pretty damn special. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I've heard that you have a song particular to this exact spot.
I do, Casey. And I wrote this in my early part of my recovery when I was in Boulder, Colorado. And it's all the things we've been talking about today. It's called Blindsided. She burst across the hillside like a furry locomotive. Without the slightest warning, she barely made a sound. On me in an instant, there was nothing I could do. Time stood still, I was flattened on the ground.
Then, Jim's song continues with a harrowing description of his nearly blind journey to safety.
Blinded by the onslaught, but pounding through the sagebrush. I could hardly see my wobbly feet, but I was guided by the sun. When I crossed that winding creek that flows under the road, oh, I knew that I would make it, but it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Blindsided, grizzly defense. Blindsided, bear common sense. Blindsided, out here alone. Blindsided, I found my way home. Blindsided in the place where it happened. You know, I've done a few performances in my time, but this one's gonna always stand out. Appreciate it, and we'll have a good hike out.
All right. As we retrace Jim's steps on our own long way home, I think of the courage it takes to turn what could have been a final act into a beautiful encore. What would you want people to take away from your experience?
Just to understand that I accept what happened. I'm not happy about it. But the bears, they are not out there preying on us like a lot of people would think. They don't kill the person. If that bear wanted me dead, I had no chance. I was at her mercy. I wasn't fighting back. The bears are really peace-loving animals, and they're not out there stalking us.
His survival, nothing short of miraculous. And his recovery, even more inspiring. Pound for pound, he's one of the toughest defenders of the grizzly bear I've ever met. Being on the front lines of bear country has its benefits. I spent a lot of time in beautiful places, getting to know some of the most awe-inspiring and intimidating animals on Earth.
Look at the size of that bear.
But there are lots of people fascinated by bears who've never set foot in the wilderness or seen one in the wild. Instead, they get their bear fix from TV and the internet, with videos watched millions of times online by people all over the world, including the infamous Kung Fu Bear, a viral video from Japan with over 2 million hits. And I've actually seen an American black bear I used to work with do this exact same behavior. That's crazy. Now, he just threw it up in the air and caught it. I've never seen a bear do that before. And of course, the dancing bear. Now this bear is just literally rubbing its back on a tree, marking its territory, scratching its back. It's a behavior I've seen 1,000 times. But somebody's added a little bit of music to this, and it's really becoming a giant YouTube sensation. It's hard to know what someone who has never seen a real bear before would think after seeing these. And although Brutus may not be a great dancer, he's got his own unique skill set. One that shows the real alternative to cute and cuddly. We'll find out if it's enough to make him the next web star.
Today, we're gonna create the ultimate bear viral video. Now, here's the plan. Rick's gonna shoot this whole thing on the handy cam, so it's gonna look authentic, even though this is really just a giant movie set. Rick and Billy are gonna pull up, there's gonna be a bear in their garbage, and then things are gonna go wrong. So guys, take your places, and let's get this thing set up.
Every year, car break-ins are one of the biggest and most expensive bear management problems. And today, the problem just got a little bigger.
Now, I don't want this to go really bad, so obviously I gotta protect my team here. So I'm gonna put a little hot wire over the top of this car so Brutus can't actually get in the car with him. If everything goes right, there's not gonna be much left of this car.
I'm the only one on the inside of the hot wire with Brutus. The rest of the crew is safely on the other side. And this is an age-old training trick. I jump, Brutus jumps. Only he doesn't actually leave the ground. Steel and safety glass are simply no match for the strength of a grizzly.
Hot July day, Brutus is already halfway through tearing this car apart, so he needs a little cool down time. Isn't that right, buddy?
Stoking Brutus's natural hunger for demolition is as easy as a can of whipped cream.
I hear something in the trunk.
Oh, it's a Brutus! The look he gave me was hilarious.
Now that we've got Brutus inside, I'd consider this car a total loss.
Boy, you really did a good job, Brutus. Why don't you give me a high five? Good job.
Now, with a bit of clever editing, we can recreate this scene as if it happened in real time, with real people and a wild bear. Just imagine, somewhere in Montana, two friends turn into their driveway. They've forgotten to take in the trash, and this is what they see.
Get the camera, get the camera.
That's crazy.
You gotta stay quiet.
This bear's, it's like,
It's huge.
you gotta be quiet. I think he's coming this way.
Dude,
He's coming this way.
we gotta get the back.
He wants the pizza. He's coming right at us.
Here you go.
Go away! Go away! Go! Get out! Get out! Okay, go! Get out of my car! Get out of there! Oh man! I can't. Oh my god! Oh my god! My mom is gonna kill me! Go away, bear! Get out of there! Oh my god! Totally crazy. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. He's totally on top. He's on top of the car.
No! Whoa,
You're
my
trying
god.
to do it. Shut up.
Get back. Oh my god! Oh my god! That is. Oh my god. Oh my god. Go away, bear! Get out of here, bear! Still there? Shh. The batteries are about to go down. Oh my god. Look at this. This is the most ridiculous. Oh my god. What? What? I mean, this is crazy.
Bears may have an appetite for destruction, but only if you feed them first. Now it's time to get this video out where it can be seen. One of these days, I predict Brutus will get his own star on the Internet Walk of Fame. Just west of Yellowstone, this cabin has been my home away from home every spring for the last 5 years. And like several places right outside the park boundary, this is a known hotspot for bear-human conflicts. And one of the most famous incidents in this area occurred on September 25th, 1992, a few kilometers up the Eldridge Trail. I'm back there today with Mark Matheny, the only guide who can retell this story in his own words.
Last time you were here, 18 years ago, was dark, where you were going to go hunting with your buddy, right?
Right. It was early in the morning. We wanted to start at the trail before it got light. I was with my good friend, Dr. Fred Monson. We were coming in bow hunting for elk.
And walking up in the dark in grizzly country is always, you're on your toes. Were you thinking about grizzlies at all?
I was, I told Fred, I said, Fred, we should stick together up here this morning because there's quite a few grizzlies in this country.
Now, we're old friends. We've talked about your mauling several times, but we've never come back to the actual site. So I'm actually looking forward to this a lot today, so lead the way, and we'll go check it out.
Let's go.
I could almost see Mark and Fred heading up the trail that morning, scanning for elk with bows in hand. Hunters don't make much noise as they travel. They also try to stay downwind of their prey. And in bear country, that can quickly translate into a surprise encounter.
We've got a brown-colored black bear just up the trail here. We're in bear country for sure. Now the wind's a little bit in our face, so I don't think it knows we're here.
Black bears are rarely aggressive, and the likelihood of a major injury from a black bear is much less than from a grizzly bear.
That's awesome. Going into that bear attack scene and running into a bear.
Now, if you would have done that when you first returned to the site of the attack, 11 days after, how would have this made you feel?
I would have for sure thought it was a grizzly.
Yeah, it would have freaked you out.
Yeah, my imagination would have said, that's a grizzly. I would have felt very threatened, very threatened. I was so scared even without seeing one. I thought a bear was going to come charging behind every tree.
Well, the wind changed. I think she smelled us and took off. Should we head on up?
Yeah, let's continue.
As we hike in further, the terrain begins to change. Grassy meadows fade into thick forest, and there's no way of seeing what's around the next bend.
Wow, this is looking really familiar. This is the spot. I'm pretty sure this is the exact spot, Casey, where we got attacked by that female grizzly with cubs.
This is where it all went down, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you can see how easy it would be to stumble on a grizzly bear. And this is super dense forest. This would be easy just to walk right up on one.
She was only like 40 yards away, lying over in the dense timber, and boy, I just caught movement. I was in the lead coming down. I was still hunting. We're just coming down the trail like we've done thousands of times. And I caught movement off to my left in the dense timber, and it was something just flying through the air horizontally. And here she comes. I seen the red ore of anger around this bear. She was pissed that I was there. And here she comes, just right out of the woods like that. And you're thinking, oh, this is not happening. I glanced for a tree to jump up into, and I'm thinking, I gotta get back to Fred so he can spray this bear. And I said, it's a bear, get your spray.
Get your spray!
Fred, he jumped behind this pine tree right here, and I jumped right behind this log right here and just threw my bow out, and the bear was like 8 feet right there. One of her paws knocked the bow out of my hand. The next paw came over the log, so I had this teeth coming right at my throat. Because next thing I know, my head's in her mouth, and she's mauling me, and I'm going, oh, God, help me. And I had one last scream for my life. She's got my head, she's killing me. And so I hyped up that situation there.
When you screamed, that's when she really bit down.
Oh, she bit down on me. I was in survival mode. At that point is when I knew I got to play dead or I'm going to be dead. Next thing I know, Fred come in yelling at that bear. and the bear charged Fred, and he emptied the can of that pepper spray right in that bear's mouth. And she took off around him, gasping for air, coughing, and away she ran with her cubs in tow. Next thing I know, Fred's saying, "Mark, are you okay? The bear's gone."
With severe facial injuries, a punctured skull, and lacerations to the arm and throat, Mark was anything but okay. Luckily, Mark's hunting partner was a doctor.
And says, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll put you back together when we get to the hospital." So it was really nice having a doctor on the scene and staying so calm about the whole thing.
So the moments that happened that day will stick with you forever, but you have some things that are a little bit more of a daily, constant reminder that you kept with you.
Well, you know, of course, this little square on my face here where she got my salivary gland, and you know what I brought up today, I wanted to show you a shirt that my wife, Becky, made for me and I had on that day. And you can see here where she went in for my throat, where she grabbed a lot of shirt here. You know, a little shredded here and there, but this is just a little souvenir for the day. Yeah, you hear about giving you the shirt off my back? Well, here you go, man.
That's pretty awesome. That's amazing. The shirt that he wore the day he was attacked, right here in this exact spot. Pretty cool.
One of Mark's favorite sayings is, "When life hands you lemons, you make lemonade." Or in his case, why not produce a potent new bear pepper spray, engineered to bring a charging grizzly to a screeching halt. Out here in bear country, the nearest town is usually a long ways off, and bear-proof gear is essential. But I've also got to bear-proof myself. My personal protection of choice is simple, mobile, and effective bear pepper spray. And most importantly, it's never out of reach.
This is not a spot that the bears are used to people being, so I'm gonna go a little slower. I'm gonna pay attention. I'm actually gonna take this off, because if something happens, it's gonna happen pretty quick.
And I've had to take the safety off a few times.
Now this is a little bit too close for comfort. Hey, there. Like I thought. Right in the bottom. Big dark grizzly bear eating an elk calf.
It's no wonder I have a lot of respect for Mark Matheny, who, after his attack, developed a bear pepper spray that's been proven many times against grizzlies.
Bear spray really works on the mucous membranes and it works on their nose mainly. So you take away a bear's keen sense of smell, now you've got one worried wild animal. They rely upon that, that's their eyes.
Now imagine a grizzly with a sense of smell 7 times stronger than a bloodhound, hitting a wall of pepper. The effect is an instant change of behavior. And this, over time, may be great news for humans and bears.
That long-term effect, if you spray a bear with bear spray, you've done your fellow humans a service, because next time that bear sees a human, the last thing it's going to think about doing is going near it again, just like if we see a skunk.
But traditionally in bear country, firearms like pistols and rifles have been the status quo.
I was traditionally a big firearms person, but when it comes to the bears coming at you like this bear did, they're very hard to stop. And with a firearm, you only get one crack, and you got to place a bullet, you know, the size of a small marble, and try to put it in a vital spot.
The hunters I know won't just take your word for it. Despite all the evidence, they still trust their Colt revolver over a can of bear spray. So it's time we put our money where our mouth is. With a little guns versus spray demonstration we've cooked up in my backyard. My wife, actress Missy Pyle, is our test shooter. With no experience using guns or bear spray, she represents a typical hiker in the Yale.
We want to find out what works better in defending against a grizzly bear charge, bear pepper spray or a firearm. And first, I'm going to give you this paintball gun. I'm going to take you up here. I'm going to gonna blindfold you with my hands, and then you're gonna have 3 moving targets coming at you. Only one is a grizzly bear that's gonna be charging you. You need to shoot that grizzly bear between the eyes. It's the only way you can stop a charging grizzly bear before it gets to the yellow line. All right? So I'm gonna put my hands over your eyes. I'm gonna count to 3. They're gonna start charging you when I start counting, and at 3, I'm taking my hands off.
Okay.
Okay? You ready?
A grizzly can charge at up to 12 meters per second. So a grizzly at this distance would be on you in 3 seconds.
Decoys ready. 1, 2, 3.
I think it would have got you.
By the time Missy grazed this grizzly, it was already 1 step over the line.
And now it's time for the pepper spray.
1, 2, 3.
Bullseye.
Wow, yeah. It's easier.
You got him.
I get ya?
Got him.
Fact is, recent research has shown bear spray to be twice as effective as firearms. Beyond statistics, there's another not-so-hidden benefit to using bear spray.
One thing nice about bear spray is it doesn't harm the bear. And hey, this bear is just protecting her cubs, right? So you kill that bear, how good is that going to make you feel when them little babies aren't going to make it because they're first year's cubs? So in a sense, you killed 4 bears.
I'm glad I don't have to carry a firearm because, I mean, the last thing I want to do is kill a bear.
Even being a hunter, we're conservationists. We don't want to have to kill something that is just doing what comes natural for them, and that's protecting their cubs and their food.
One of the biggest issues in bear country is the influx of people living right at the edge of wilderness. They may want to live in nature, but on occasion, they are in for a rude awakening. So it seemed appropriate, with my wife Missy joining me in our new homestead on the frontier, for Brutus and I to welcome her with a bit of a trial run.
Got it?
Need to have the groceries?
Oh, that's all right. I'll put them away. Go on your little nature hike, and I'll take care of this. Oh, just take the bird feeder out and please light the grill.
Seriously?
Yeah. And then I'll make our first meal in our new house.
Hey, listen to me. I'm really serious about this. We're not in California anymore.
What? Really?
Really. Here in Montana, there are plenty of wild animals out there that would love to scare you all the way back to Hollywood, so you need to be really careful.
Wilder than you.
Wilder than me. So you promise to be careful?
I can take care of myself, okay? This is Montana. It's not nearly as dangerous as Los Angeles.
No, just go.
Okay.
Go squirrel whisper or whatever it is they pay you for. And I'll see you when you get back.
Now, I really don't think Missy's taking this whole living in bear country thing seriously, so I'm gonna recruit the help of a good friend and teach her a lesson. You just wait to see what I have in store.
Hey!
All right, Brutus, here's the plan. Missy's really not taking this whole living in bear country thing seriously. Why don't you go teach her a lesson?
Okay, roger that, Casey. I'll take over from here. Well, what do we have here? Backyard bird feeder? Strike 1.
I know, it's gorgeous. He's so hilarious. He's so worried about me, like something bad's gonna happen.
Medium rare?
I think it's more dangerous here than it is in Los Angeles.
And no one watching the grill? Then it's all mine.
I know. Oh, it's very cute though. Uh-huh.
This is turning into a real cakewalk. Time to raid the goodie bag. And the door's open? Oh, then I'll let myself in. Oh, what is that smell? Could it be? Salmon! Phew, time to wash it down. That's it for the groceries. Hey, Misty, dinner's ready. Oh, am I exhausted. Time to take a load off. You know, this place is kind of a dump. Definitely needs a remodel. Okay, Casey. My work is done here. She's all yours.
What happened?
Do you have any idea who might have made that?
Looks like a grizzly bear. More specifically, Brutus. Remember I told you, now that you're Montana, you have to play by a whole nother set of rules? Well, I had Brutus play a little trick on you, but
Fun.
the good news is that I'm gonna buy you a new kitchen.
I think you're gonna have to start by buying me dinner.
Okay, anywhere you want. Let's go.
Anywhere.
What a bad boy.
Hey, y'all. Come on in. Water is fine.
With a family full of talented actors, pulling off a scene like this is a snap.
The chicken got eaten by a grizzly bear.
We're hoping this video will go on to educate the new residents of Bear Country. Otherwise, we're sending Brutus in to renovate your kitchen. People find themselves in Bear Country for many reasons. Some for the view, some for the hunt, some for the solitude, and others for the company.
Oh, Sarah, it's good to be back with you on a horse in the woods. It's been a long time.
The last time Sarah Muller and Sarah Harvey were together on this trail in Yellowstone was 18 years ago, crossing Slough Creek on horseback. They had no idea what lay waiting for them on the other side.
So tell me about the trip itinerary. So you left from this trailhead. You're headed in for a while.
Heading in for 3 or 4 days. Yeah, it was a wonderful weekend. You know, I had met this cute little mountain man that I was falling in love with. And that morning, Pete asked if I wanted to ride out, and I said, I'll just hike out.
And you said something that morning before you left.
The day I left, Pete packed my backpack out, and I just had a stuffed sack and a water bottle. And I said, oh, I need my key to the car in case I get out before you do. And he goes, well, don't you want a piece of leather or something to tie that on in case you lose it? And I said, well, I won't lose it unless I get mauled by a bear.
With those ominous words ringing in our ears, we get back in the saddle. And as we ride higher, out of the timber, and into the high country, the rewards are never sweeter. But something on the wind is bittersweet. The memories of the attack returning.
I was coming up the trail from this direction here, and I see her just right out there. My adrenaline started going, my heart started pumping, but I was still at that point thinking I was going to get away. Her cubs either smelled me, heard me, but they let out this incredible shrieking, like, warning cry to her. And she just started coming right at me. I had no spray with me. What are you going to try? Anything. So I'm trying to put that stuff sack in her mouth. I do remember the sound of my skull crushing. She tore into this leg, but what really hurt is when she broke 7 ribs and collapsed my lung, and so at that point it was hard for me to breathe. She picked me up by this arm, did one of those shake numbers, tossed me in the air, and then that was it. I was down on the ground. It was like all of a sudden, quiet.
Both Sarah's eyes were blind from the trauma. She was losing blood from head, leg, and arm injuries. And her one good lung was gasping for air. With time running out, her only hope was Sarah and Pete coming down the trail behind her.
So Sarah, you're coming up the trail, and you see her laying in the trail.
And then I saw her face, and it was pretty bloody.
Of course you want your loved one to stay with you, but then he said, I'm the better rider, I can go faster. Sarah knows first aid. And I was like, okay.
Pete rode off for help, pushing his horse over 6 kilometers down steep, rocky terrain at breakneck speed.
And we had 2 pack horses tied up in the trees, so I just kept watching them because I knew they would let me know if a bear was in the area.
You're alone here and with no security, essentially.
Yeah. Helicopter came in really quickly, though. I think it was like within an hour.
I've never been so happy to hear a sound of a helicopter.
Ditto.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then Sarah uttered the words that made her famous throughout all of bear country.
So many years I had seen so many bears killed. I remember as they're walking me up to the helicopter, but I said, but don't mess with her. Please, just don't mess with her.
The scrapbook Sarah brought with her into the backcountry practically overflows with mementos from the attack.
These are just newspaper articles of the whole, the lucky to be alive, and that kind of said it all.
But most impressive was the human reaction, responding to the news of her request that no harm be visited upon the bear.
This is an interesting letter from a trucker that read about it, and it says here, the end of this article stated that you requested officials not to take any action against the grizzly. I'm writing to tell you how much I admire your wisdom and compassion, especially after an ordeal like that. I thank God every day that I'm still here, that I survived what I did.
Ultimately, Sarah's true message is the same as Jim Cole's and Mark Matheny's. They've all been close enough to see the real grizzly bear, struggling in its own fight to survive. And they can see themselves in the picture and admit their own mistakes.
It was my fault. I was in her, area and not making noise. She would have heard me, taken her cubs, and gone away. They don't want to do what she did to me. They're beautiful animals. I totally respect them and even have that much more respect for them now.
Did I let my guard down? Yes. Was it my fault, not the bear's? Absolutely. I take full responsibility. Bear was just adhering to her natural instincts, and I totally respect that. I have no animosity toward her at all.
So I really enjoy that aspect of living in Montana is, it is still wild because we got the grizzlies here. When something scares somebody, just to kill it, is that the answer? No, I think not. It's to learn about how we can live together. We can coexist. We don't have to just knock out something that scares us.
Grizzly bears can appear larger than life. Maybe that's why we fear them with such intensity. But to see the bear for what it is, the keeper of the last true wilderness and a reminder of our place in the big picture, is its own reward.